What does one say to an ancient Nephilim ghost?
I suppose you start with...
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another Diablo 3 Season 33 video. Got some good news for you. Maxroll have updated all of their content for Season 33, including the tier lists of the best builds. So we've got the solo experience tier list is done, as is the solo pushing tier list. So what I thought we'd do is today we're going to go through the solo XP and talk about what class you might want to play in Season 33 Diablo 3. Season obviously starts on Friday, so a couple of days after I do this, I will link Maxroll for you to come and peruse. It is a brilliant source of information for Diablo 3. It's got builds, it's got a D3 planner if you want to build your own character. You can import your own character and start looking at things. Couldn't recommend this site any more highly. Obviously great group of guys, and it's wonderful to see that they're still updating this for us to use. So before we do get going, as always, a thumbs up brightens my day. Now just a quick overview here of the solo tier list. This is basically going to be XP grinding. Now XP grinding is kind of in the region of about 3-minute rifts. I know some people like to do 5 minutes. Some people like to do under 2-minute runs just for like extra blood shards, for the echoing nightmare keys, and for the extra chance of primals and all that sort of stuff. This is what Maxroll say is the basically the most efficient way to play the game and grind out those paragons if you're doing solo. Obviously if you're doing group, rolling a support character such as a Z-Barb, maybe a Z-Necro or a ZDH will definitely get you good XP. One thing I should say before we really start looking at these builds, of course the season theme is going to be the 4th cube. So we're going to get a 4th slot. You can put anything in it, weapon, armor, jewelry, whatever you want goes in there. No duplication, so you can't stack conventional elements on top of conventional elements as an example. And we also get the shadow clones. Now the shadow clones aren't going to come into the season very much. They'll be very useful early, but by the time you get up to like tier 100, 110, I don't think they're going to be doing much for you, and these builds here I think will smash past that for the solo XP. Now we had a kind of similar-ish season in 31 because that was the open cube. Lord Nova in my opinion was the best solo build, so we were doing, or I was doing like 130 in like 2 minutes ish, and that was with about 1200 paragon. It was fully augmented. My gear was quite nice because I did put a lot of time into getting the gear. We're not going to be as powerful because we will be losing the cube, but I still think Necro is going to be the way to go. So we've got the Lord Necro, we've got the Bone Spear, both of those are going to be S tier. If we have a quick jump on to this, not the solo XP, we want to go on solo pushing. Look at this, you've got 4 Necro builds in here. We've got the Legacy Dreams Death Nova, Inarius Death Nova, Tragul's Death Nova. They're all essentially the same build. There's a few little differences, but the playstyle and technique is extremely similar for them. And then we've got Rathma, Army of the Dead. So if you're basically saying what's the best class to play next season, well, all 4 S tier push builds. So the first builds to clear 150 will be these 4, I'm guessing. It's going to be a very necro heavy season. And if we jump back onto the solo XP list, then we've got the S tier. I mean, even if you want to group, of course Trash Killer is going to be the Lord Nova. That's going to be on its own, and even the Rift Guardian Killer spot is going to go to Necro with Army of the Dead out on Rathma. And it's, you know, there's no A tier RGK builds next season. Anyway, solo XP, Lord Nova. You won't start with this because it takes a while to get your Legacy of Dream stuff going, because you need the gem at 99, which obviously is a bit of a grind in and of itself. And then you need all the items ancients, you need them all augmenting. And for a little while, until you get to that point, the starting set is actually Inarius. Now, it doesn't look like they've put down an Inarius build on here. We've got Rathma. They've got Rathma on here twice. Wonder if we just click that, I think that's a bit of a mistake. One of these should be Inarius, so I'm guessing Rathma Army of the Dead should be an A tier, and I'm going to hazard a guess that should be Tragul Nova Necro or Inarius Necro. So let's just have a little look on the push build. because this is the starting set. We're going to get the Inarius. Now, we do need to find the supporting items for it always, but Haunted Visions, Crispins can be a bit tricky to find, but it's a flat modifier, 19,000% on the 6-piece, which is really nice. Getting a Scythe is dead easy, Funerary Pick, Scythe the Cycle, even you could do a Tragul's Corroded Fang, you can find one of those, that'll give you damage. Bloodtide Blade, easy to find, there's only 4 of these in the loot pool, there's only 4 offhands in the loot pool, so it's going to be quite easy to start building. You're not going to be in like your final form build, but this is how you're going to basically start, I think. So Scythe the Cycle, Bloodtide Blade, Funerary Pick, Iron Rose, and you're going to basically hold down Siphon Blood and it's going to automatically cast your Novas, and that will be pretty good. Now, you can manually cast the Death Nova. It feels much smoother to play, but you do give up quite a bit of damage doing it that way because you're not getting the Siphon Blood Funerary Pick modifier, so you've got to pick something a little bit less. And you can have like essence issues, and you can have life issues as well if you're doing the Blood Nova. But where you do wish to be ultimately is this Legacy Dreams version, because it packs a lot more punch, just simply because of all the kind of cool supporting items, like Stuart's Greaves comes in with no worries. We can take the Bloodthorns for Blackthorns, sorry, for the extra physical damage. We can take Mantle of Channeling, so whilst we're siphoning blood, we're getting damage increase. We can take the Stone Gauntlets for some toughness. We can work in COE. We can work in Unity for toughness. It was pretty good. I actually ran it with Indaryl's Visage rather than the Leoric's Crown in Season 31. I found that to be a fairly decent way to do it, but Leoric's Crown obviously just gives you a bit more toughness. Initially, squishiness will probably be a problem rather than damage, because until you get all these items ancients, you're not getting your full damage reduction out of your Lord Gem. But this is pretty much going to be, I think, one of the best builds. It is a bit annoying on the Rift Guardian. I did do my solo speeds with a Stricken. That's where I ended up with, because it just found that it was unpleasant to fight the Rift Guardian without a Stricken. But by all means, we could try and swap this out for a Bane of the Powerful, like early on and stuff. Now, if we were doing 130, that would have been with the Scythe of the Cycle here, and it would have been with the Tragul's Corroded Fang here. So we have lost Tragul's Corroded Fang. In place of that, we get the Unity. I think there could be a world where, because 130, we probably will have enough toughness, I think, whereby we'll be able to take maybe a Stone of Jordan. So we will get some damage back from dropping the Traguls. We will also get some damage back from taking Witching Hour, because we do get 50 crit damage off this, which again, it's not massive, but it's going to help, I think. So we're not going to lose the full Tragul Corroded Fang bonus of 200%, but we're going to lose most of it. I think we might be losing maybe, I don't know, 2/3 of it. So we'll have to see, but I do think that once you get this set up and augmented, you should be running like 120 plus pretty comfortably, I think, with good gear. Again, we'll just sort of have to see how things settle down, but it's going to take some time to set up, so we will be doing Inarius whilst we're looking for it. But that, I think, is going to be a pretty strong build and a pretty strong way to go. I would do the season journey. I normally recommend building a Lord Necro, and just that's how I like to play the game, but I don't think it's worth it. Inarius is just going to be a much more solid start. Bone Spear, I personally found in Season 31 this was considerably weaker than the Lord Nova, so it's interesting they've both got them in S tier. Similarly, obviously, in this season beforehand, we could have the in 31 we had the open cube, so again we could fit more modifiers in here. I probably wouldn't bother building this. I'd probably just stick on Inarius. Is Bone Spear better? Again, not entirely sure. I thought it was okay, but I did feel that it was a good, like, I don't know, maybe 10 tiers weaker. So I don't know, maybe I didn't have my setup quite right, or something like that. But I found personally, when I built this last time, Bone Spear, I augmented it out and then really regretted it afterwards, because as soon as I swapped to Lord Nova, it was way better. and that was what I do. So I'm planning on doing Lod. I'm not going to bother with Bone Spear. But if you do like the Bone Spear playstyle, again, there's quite a lot of crossover items here: Crispins, Haunted Visions, Scythe of the Cycle, Conventional Elements. You will share some pieces. Obviously, you're not sharing the belt, unfortunately, but I mean, you could do. You just lose your, because this is in the Lord Nova build, but you will lose your 50% crit damage. All guilds and guardians and crimsons is always a little bit of a muchness. This is kind of the best ideal spec that obviously maxroll is suggesting. I personally like playing with the guardian set very early on, so get rid of this belt here, and then we put the Bone Spear shoulders back on, Guardian's bracer, and then Guardian's hat, basically, because the doubling of your main stats really powerful early on. Does obviously the more Paragon you get, the less kind of bang for your buck you get, but it does help out considerably, I think, with toughness as well. They've actually gone for the shadow hooks. You got the Malturis Petrified Spike, shadow hooks. You want to stack max essence everywhere on this build. It needs to be on your secondary for your offhand, secondary of your scythe, all that kind of stuff. I do like Bone Spear, and at least you get the chance. So maybe if you found some really nice Bone Spear pieces, you would go and do that. Now, if let's say you don't wish to play Necromancer, I know they've got the Army of the Dead build here in A tier, but again, I think it is considerably weaker than these two. It's harder to set up, needs more cooldowns, clunky. Looks amazing, it is fun to play, but it is very hard to get like a 2-minute clear with a Rathma Army of the Dead build. 2-minute clear with Lord Nova, 2-minute clear with Bone Spear, very doable. But let's say you don't want to play Necromancer. Well, what other options have you got? Well, we do have the tried and trusted Gears of Dreadlands Demon Hunter. I don't really like this for this season. I played it a lot last season with the Ethereals. We're going to have a considerable power drop on this from season 32 to season 33, because all that we really get out of this is, normally speaking, the raw goes here. So we're just basically getting free conventional elements, and I reckon this is probably only putting a couple of tiers on. So, whatever you would farm off season or in just a normal Gears of Dreadlands build with like 1200 Paragon, 1500 Paragon, however much it is that you do have, all you're going to get, I think, is an extra couple of tiers, and that really doesn't seem very appealing to me. Now, the advantage of Gears of Dreadlands is it's pretty easy to set up. Obviously, it's not the starting set, that's going to be the Shadow and Pale, but finding a Series Satchel is not that difficult. You don't really need any of the weapons. I mean, obviously Dawn is best because you need the Vengeance cooldown. It takes a while to get a good one, of course, but it could easily just go in the cube as you're starting off. You could cube it or whatever. Hunter's Wrath belt, pretty easy to find. And yeah, all this stuff, none of it's particularly difficult. So yeah, I'm less keen. I know I normally play Gears of Dreadlands, normally play it quite a lot, but I think I'm going to pass on that this season. UE multi-shot, this is a similar story. It is basically just a free conventional elements. That doesn't really fill me with joy. Again, it's got really good wave clear with the multi-shot. Again, not that difficult to set up. You do actually need the particular bow, the Angrico, so it is a bit more expensive than Gears of Dreadlands. It's not, I think, as easy straight out the box. Gears of Dreadlands, you can do 6 pieces of it pretty fine. I mean, you can with UE, to be fair, but I would probably be picking Gears of Dreadland if I was to make a Demon Hunter. Monk, I think, is going to be quite fun this season because we've got Legacy of Dreams, Wave of Light. That's quite funny that they've left the Bartuks on there. This was in the Challenge Rift as well, which is weird. I don't quite know why. That's obviously an error. That shouldn't be. That should be the Rabid Strike. I can't remember what it's called. It's like green fist weapon. The other one that basically goes with Wave of Light build. They haven't updated this actually. There's no 4th cube. So what would go here in the 4th cube? Well, for speed, you can take Inju. It can zip around really fast. You could maybe take the Furnace, I think, because we've already got conventional elements. So yeah, again, I don't think Wave of Light's getting like a massive kick this particular season. And again, it's difficult to set up because you need it being Legacy Dreams, you need everything being good. So yeah, I would probably play Necro, but if you are making Monk, then Legacy Dreams Wave of Light will be good. POJ Tempest Rush will be much easier to set up. Again, they haven't updated this, unfortunately, because we still have the Ethereals here. So when I said at the start they've updated all their content, God, wasn't I a big fat liar? I'm sure the rest of these builds will get finished by the time that we get to the season launch, so do check the website. They've gone for the balance, which is they've gone for the Flying Dragon, on the Jade Talon. You won't be able to use that. So obviously you'll take the Shenlong's Relentless Fists, which is basically the set fist weapons. That gives you a nice big power kick. This one Kim Lao will go here in this 4th cube slot. So the set fist weapons. And this will be quite a fun build. I haven't played POJ for ages. It's pretty easy to play and user friendly. The fist weapons do make it fiddly. That is going to be the way that you get the most power out of it, but you don't have to play it that way. So again, another pretty good choice, I think. Then we've got the 2 wizard builds. So Tal Rasha for the Meteor. I think this gets a fairly decent power kick. There's a couple of different ways of doing this. It's very flexible, which I like. Now, I played a lot of Meteor last season because it was probably, I think, the best solo XP farm build last season in 32. So again, I'm not massively keen on doing a wizard again. The main thing we're looking to do is to get both of the weapons in the cube, so the Grand Vizier and the Smouldering Core. So they're the 2 ones that buff up the Meteor. That allows you to sneak the Orb of Infinite Depth in, which is fantastic for toughness because it's another 80% damage reduction. So stacking that on top of an 80% damage reduction of your Hail of Karini, plus the damage reduction in the Tal Rasha set, plus the damage reduction in the Orgulds, you're going to be like insanely tanky. And that's going to be quite good for pushing a little bit later, because if you're trying to push with under 1500 Paragon, squishiness does come into things. So this 80% damage reduction will be good. It does also give 40% damage as well, which is pretty nice. Pig Sticker is going to be, I think, for fishing for rifts with beasts and humans. Nice attack speed on it and that sort of stuff. Again, for speeds, Aether Walker could go here, and then you can zip around with the infinite teleport. You're going to have some resource issues though, so trying to work in Crimsons could be a way to go. So something like take the Rogue, put it here, dump the Convention of Elements, put on Tal Rasha's Amulet, put in the Squirts, and then that might just about give you enough space to maybe work in Crimsons. Maybe it doesn't, because we need Crimson's Belt, and then you'd need one of these 2 other slots. Again, you could get rid of the Orb of Infinite Depth and put the Tal Rasha offhand on, so maybe that would be a way of doing those 2. And again, you'd have to probably put the Mempo on the character, and then an Elf's Boast in the cube. I might do Wizard because some of the speed builds interest me. We could just put an Ingame here as well. That would be another way to get a teleport cooldown reset. But as I say, I played it last season, so I'm a little bit less enamoured with it, and it's a very difficult build to gear because you really need a nice Halo of Karini, and that was very frustrating for me last season. Didn't quite manage. I had to do the primal upgrade for that, and that just meant that I couldn't have a primal weapon. So I'm a bit sore about that one. But you can then transition into Legacy Dreams version, which obviously was the best build last season. So again, very strong. Not sure that I particularly want to do it, but again, if you want to play Wizard, absolutely fine. Fist of Heavens, so Aegis of Valor Fist of Heavens. Again, this hasn't been updated to reflect the 4th cube. This was really fun one in Season 31 with the open cube, because it allowed us to take the Echoing Fury, which was really nice, doing the automatic Fist of the Heavens. This looks like a T16 setup, which obviously we're not interested in, but you would have the Dark Light, which is the flail that goes with it. You would take the Norvald set for the pony. You would then have this basically Echoing Fury going in the 4th cube slot, which would be really nice. With the open cube, we were doing 110 again at like 1100 Paragon with nice gear, and they were coming out at like 60-90 second runs, so it was powerful. It does run out of punching power a little bit, but if you just want that like arcadey super fast play style, I think that's going to be good. I might build this. I didn't play any Crusader last season, so again I'm kind of tempted by that one. But in terms of actually solo XP, I think that the Lord Nova once setup is going to leave it in the dust. It isn't the only option that we've got on the Crusader, because we can do Legacy Dreams Bombardment. Again, it looks like this one hasn't been updated as of yet, and it's going to be difficult to set up because you're looking for thorns everywhere. So this is one of the most difficult builds in the game to gear, because it's looking for thorn secondaries on ancient pieces with correct rolls. So, you know, good luck with that one. I'd say that's probably one to avoid unless you're a serious player. And then the last one in the A tier is good old Mystic Ally. So again, we're going to have the 4th cube. So what goes in there? Trying to think. So we've already got conventional elements. The solo XP family, I wouldn't run it like this. I wouldn't take the Shenlongs. I would much prefer playing it. You can maybe take the inner weapon, and then you could work in Guardian set, for instance, dump the belt and put the braces there. Quite like that. You could do a squirts, and you could do a Stone of Jaw, just stack it with basically damage. I'm not sure what actually would go in the cube. Furnace, possibly, for the 50% elite damage. I don't think an engine would be particularly useful, but I suppose it would allow access to infinite teleport. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it. Again, I'm not planning on playing Monk, so I haven't really thought too much about it. So if anyone has got any great ideas for that going in, then in the B tier, I'm not going to go through all these builds because there are considerable. We'll have a look at the Barb one actually, because obviously we've only really got Barb's got 3 builds in here, and we'll look at Witch Doctor I suppose as well. Barb's got these 3 builds: Savage, Whirlwind and Raycore. I think they all offer like advantages. Like Savage is really good for single target. You can use it as your Rift Guardian killer. I've never really enjoyed it that much for speeds. I much prefer wave clear, like AoE stuff, but I know some people really do like it. Again, it's a bit like probably just a free conventional elements. There's nothing massive that goes on the build with the 4th cube slot. I think it's the same for the Raycore. I don't think there's terribly much free conventional elements. Again, this is not my favourite speed build. I think it's a little bit difficult to play personally. It is the only build I've cleared 150 on for Barb, let me put it that way. So it's, you know, I have spent some time with it, but again, it's not like my favorite thing. It is a little bit difficult. Whirlwind is probably the beginner friendly speed build, and then we can kind of work our rings in, so we can get focus and restraint in, because we've got the 4th cube, so we can take Band of Might, we can take Zodiac, we've got Mantle of Channeling. Again, early on you could do like a Rogue, you could maybe put the Lamentation belt in the cube, and you could do like a Guardians, get rid of the Mortix brace and just take Guardians. Again, I think that'll be popular. Ambos in Germ to try and basically get your permanent Wrath of the Berserker up, with the Boonable Cathos passive. It's been a while since I've played Barb. I'm thinking I'm going to do Necron Barb next season. It's probably where I want to be, because I'm thinking maybe I'll make a Frenzy for the Rift Guardian killer, make a Z Barb, and then maybe I'll push a couple of Barb builds next season. That's what I'm thinking of. Natalia Spike Trap I don't like at all for solo speed farming. Again, clunky, not easy to play. Lord Bless Shield is a lot of fun. Again, it's a Legacy Dreams build, so maybe we'll set it up. Again, they haven't updated this guide yet. Not sure there's another modifier that can go here, so again, it might just be a case of you take the Furnace and get a little bit of an elite damage, so it's not going to be an amazing one, I don't think, with the season theme. What else do we have? Hydra is fun, but it's just so much weaker than Tal Rasha Meteor. It's faster, I think, potentially. Depends how you set your Tal Rasha Meteor up, or your Lod Meteor, but it can potentially be faster. Firebirds, again, I'm not a massive fan of this. You know, have they updated it? Yeah, they have done this one, yeah. So Firebirds, this is the starting set. So whether you'd actually bother setting this up, getting your Ore Guilds and your Crimsons, you'd probably just swap to Tal Rashes before you get any of this stuff done. But anyway, this is the build that they're recommending. You just need to hit with a fire spell with your Disintegrate, and another fire spell will detonate it. So it's a pretty good start, I think, for the wizard. We've got the Rathma, the Dead. I think that should be an Arius. I'm almost certain that should be an Arius Nova. And then, hey, I know some people do play Witch Doctor still. Mundanugu with the 4th cube gets a bit of juice. See what I did there? Voo's Juicer, Sacred Harvester, and Barber. So we can actually fit some weapons in. This just basically allows us to stack Soul Harvest more. That gives us more intelligence, which gives us more damage, can give you more move speed, and can give you more damage reduction with your Lacumba's Ornament. So I think the 4th cube for the Witch Doctor is fairly okay for Mundanugu. I like Witch Doctor for key farming and bounties, but that's pretty much the only time I play it. I don't really farm any XP on it. And then the Helltooth build looks like it's pretty much just getting a free Convention of Elements. I would probably prefer to do Mundanugu, but if you fancy doing Zombie Charger, go for it. Zombie Bears, you know. So that's basically the tier list, I think. I know obviously we didn't go through these big bead ones in as much detail, but I think really maybe you're picking one of the Barb builds to invest in. Obviously one of the Witch Doctor builds to invest in, but otherwise, look, it's just Season of Necro. That's where you want to be. I think you want to start an Arius. I don't think it's worthwhile augmenting up a Bone Spear. So if I was playing SSF and I wanted to make as much progress as possible, I would make an Arius. If I got nice pieces that supported it, I'd augment them, but I would be looking to do Legacy of Dreams. I would not. I did invest in Bone Spear, as I said earlier, in Season 31. Mistake, cost me 7 or 8 augments, which was annoying to get. Because obviously you can split the Echoing Nightmare keys, but it's just finding the gems as well is a bit of a pain in the bum. So my plan will be to make a Necro, level the Necro, start with an Arius, move into Lod, and I'm going to make a Barb as well. And that way I can choose between Frenzy Savage or the Army of the Dead Rathma for the boss killer. I'll probably go Savage because it's just easier to play. And I don't think I've made a Savage Barb for ages, but I might do that. Looking very, very quickly at the solo pushing, I don't think there's much to be said about this. Again, it's going to be a Necro Fest. It's going to be the easiest build, I think, to get the 150 done. Slight exception possibly with the Lod Twister, because I think on console the Twister mechanics work differently. What will clear 150? Necro definitely, Wizard definitely, Monk will. Somebody will get Natalia's cleared, I think. Crusader on a Condemn or Roland. Interesting, what's it saying to put in the Roland build? Hasn't been updated. I was interested to see what that might have been. I think everything will get 150 done again. It was a clean sweep. Every single class, every single leaderboard had a 150 on it in Season 32. We might not get it this time around, and the reason I say that is because the Ethereals just gave so much juice, and there were a couple of classes that were pretty tight. But really, if you're interested in doing 150, just make yourself a Necromancer and do the Death Nova. It's going to be the fastest, it's going to be the easiest way. And then after that, probably most of these builds on A tier should be 150 capable, but they will need obviously way more Paragon, I think, to get it done. So that's going to be my plan. Lord Nova. I'm probably going to back it over an Arius because I think it is better, but I'll see what gear I get. But yeah, this is the rest of the push list. If you want to have a look through this on Maxroll's website, please do so. It's nice that they've got some of these builds linked. They as I say, they haven't done all of them. That's fine. There's still a couple of days to go. I'm going to try and make some actual build guides this video, so do keep your eye out looking for those. As I say, Maxroll will be linked for you, so if you want to come on here, have a little look at something. And I use D3 Planner a lot, which is where you can just basically, you can import your own characters, type your battle tag in here, so one of those, and you can import your character. Or you can just build something as you go. So let's say you want to say, well, I'm going to make a Necro, and I think I'm going to find the Inarius helm, or whatever it is, and you can equip full set, blah, blah, blah. Good tool, highly recommended. I've been a Filthy Casual, guys. I hope you're excited for Season 33. I'll see you on there. Take it easy. Peace.